So that is how it is going to be. Okay. Now here, GMAT is a computer adaptive test as well. So what that simply means is that the difficulty level of the test will adapt to your performance. So if you get a question correct, the next question is harder difficulty level. If you get a question wrong, the next one is easier difficulty level. So each question will decide the difficulty level of the next one, and accordingly your score will change as well. Now, there is no penalty in the traditional sense of it. However, you are being penalized in terms of your difficulty level, right? If you get a question wrong, your difficulty level goes down, and eventually a lower difficulty level will fetch you less points. Higher difficulty level, you get more points. As simple as that. You do not get to see previously administered questions, so you can't go back. And of course, there is an item exposure control, so there is a mix of all types of questions from the syllabus. Right. So as you can see here in the chart as well, the test starts at a medium difficulty level. And as you keep on getting questions correct, your difficulty level goes up. And then accordingly, your score is calculated, right? The more questions you solve of higher difficulty level, higher your score is going to be. Okay, great. Now, on the verbal section, as discussed, reading comprehension and critical reasoning, 23 questions is what you get. Reading comprehension, usually you'll get somewhere between 13 to 14 questions as well at times. And on the critical reasoning, you may find anywhere between 9 to 11 critical reasoning questions on the test. That's a bit random for everyone. Your first section could be critical reasoning, your first section could be reading comprehension, doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's get to the questions that we had in the mock test, in the diagnostic test that I asked you guys to take, right, in our previous session. So today I'll walk you through all of these questions and I'll show you how someone can solve these questions in under 90 seconds. What are the right strategies to follow? What are the good skills that you need to develop here, right? So the first question that we have is, which of the following would strengthen the editor's argument except? So first of all, you need to understand what is this except thing here, right? So when it says strengthen except, it means four choices will strengthen and one will not. And that is the choice that we are really, really looking out for. So that's important for us to figure out. Otherwise, we'll struggle here. So first thing, when you read any critical reasoning question, is to identify the conclusion of the argument. Only then can we simply go ahead and solve that in the time frame. So if you read the argument, you'll clearly find this question is clearly biased. So the word clearly tells me that that is the conclusion. So simply conclusion is that here the survey's conclusion may not be correct, right? So this is the survey's conclusion, and the argument's conclusion is that the survey's conclusion may not be correct. So basically, in other words, I can simply say survey may be wrong. Okay. Now, all I have to do is I ask myself, why are we saying so? Why are we saying that the survey may be wrong? So the premise here in this case is simply because the survey is biased, right? Since the survey is biased, we are saying that it is more likely to be wrong. Now, hypothetically, let's say if I had to strengthen it. So all I had to do was find an answer choice that will allow me to say that the survey is wrong, right? So any choice that gives you the possibility that the survey may be wrong is going to strengthen, and if not, then not, right? And that's what we are looking out for. So see, this is your scratch work. And if you keep your thoughts on paper, more clarity you will have, less likely to fall for trap answers. The credibility of the magazine's previous surveys has been called into question on countless occasions. If that is the case, then obviously this survey is likely to be wrong as well, which strengthens. Conclusions drawn in most lifestyle surveys have eventually been disproved. If they have been disproved, then obviously this will also strengthen the argument because this one is more likely to be wrong. Other surveys suggest that Asian women are more concerned about restaurant food than they are about home cooked food. So clearly, this is a conclusion opposite to what the argument says. Here, they are more concerned with the restaurant, the home cooked food, right? Therefore, this one is also likely to strengthen. Tenuous here means weak. So the results of the surveys involving a self-selection bias are usually tenuous. If they're usually weak, then this one is also likely to strengthen. Other surveys suggest that Asian women are concerned not only with restaurant food, home cooked food, but ready-made foods. Now, this is what we call as out of scope, something which is completely irrelevant, right? So we don't really care about them. Out of scope choice is something which doesn't really matter. Ready-made foods is irrelevant. Therefore, it will not strengthen, and thus the right answer in this case, E part, absolutely the choice that one should have gone for. Are we clear here, everyone? Guys, all I request is a quick yes or no in the chat that allows me to understand if you and I are on the same page. So if you've taken the pains, if you've made the effort to join the session, a humble request, a quick yes or no. Let's not be lazy, guys. What sort of score are we targeting if we are being so lazy? So I hope that's clear to everyone. Let's have a look at the next one. Which of the following statements, if true, provides best evidence that the mayor's reasoning is flawed? So, a flaw question is basically a reasoning based question. We'll have to understand what sort of reasoning is there and what is the problem with that reasoning. So, if we see here, a certain mayor has proposed a fee of $5 per day on private vehicles entering the city, claiming that the fee will alleviate the city's traffic congestion. Mayor reasons that, so this is the reasoning, since the fee will exceed the cost of round trip bus fare from nearby points, many people will switch from using their cars to bus. So basically, the author's idea is let's charge them more money. And since cost will be a barrier, and therefore a lot of people would not really want to do that. Which one exposes the flaw? So if you see projected increases in the price will increase the cost of taking a private vehicle into the city, that's what they want, right? How is that a flaw? Cost of parking fees already makes it considerably more expensive for people to take a private vehicle. If that is the case, then I don't think cost is going to work at all. Because your whole logic was if it gets expensive, then people will not use it. But B part tells me it is already expensive. Okay. So if it is already expensive, then I don't think this is going to work at all, right? Then why would people do so? Most people currently riding the bus do not own a private vehicle. Irrelevant if they don't own a private vehicle, that doesn't tell me the problem with the reasoning, right? Many commuters oppose mayor's plan have indicated that they would rather endure traffic congestion than pay a fine. Uh, so in that case, how does that really matter, guys? That is not the problem with the argument's reasoning, right? And more importantly, if they're not really taking their own vehicle, then how would that matter, right? There will be no traffic in the first place. During the average workday, private vehicles owned and operated by people living within the city account for 20%. Who, where the 20% is coming from is not the problem that we already have in the reasoning, which is exactly what the question is asking here. So I believe that is something we can eliminate. B part, most definitely the right answer choice. I hope that's clear to everyone, guys. Do we understand the right one here? Any challenge? Great. Now, assumption is a very important question and can be a very tricky one as well, right? So this is something that we really, really need to understand and how to go about it. So assumption is basically the bridge between your conclusion and premise, right? So assumption is something which is missing, but it's obviously there, right? It is required for the argument to work. So here the argument concludes that the cost will rise. Why will the cost rise? Since the famous renditions services cost more and they are not allowed to use a copy, right? As a result, advertising firms will stop using imitators. So basically, conclusion is the cost will go up. Why are we saying so? Because no copy. Imitators are not allowed, right? So when will the cost go up? When I'm actually using the famous ones, isn't it? Don't you think, everyone? If I'm not even using the famous singers, then why would my cost go up? So I've assumed that if not copy, then I have to use the official or the famous ones. Therefore, my cost goes up. Most people are unable to distinguish. If people are able to distinguish or not, that's irrelevant. I'm talking about using them or not. Commercials using female singers are usually more effective than irrelevant. We're not talking about if they're more effective or not. We are simply saying that the cost will go up. And the question is, why will it go up? Original versions of some songs are unavailable. Who says we only have to record the ones which are not available? Advertising firms will continue to use imitators. That goes beyond what the argument says. We've already mentioned that no imitators. Clearly, E part, the only logical choice should have been advertising industry will use well-known renditions. So if they're going to use these famous ones, the well-known renditions, only then can I say that the cost will go up. Yes or no, everyone? So this is something that the author assumed, and it's a must-be true statement for this whole argument to work. All right, great. So I hope we're clear with this one. Let's have a look at another critical reasoning question here. Which of the following hypothesis best explains the contrast? So explain is a paradox question. So there is a contrast given to you, and we have to explain how this contrast is possible. Okay. So here it says adult female rats who have never been encountered, who never before encountered rat pups will start to show maternal behaviors after being confined with a pup for about 7 days. This period can be shortened by disabling the sense of smell. Now that's a little odd, right? Removing one of the senses shortens this period is a little surprising to see, right? Why would that happen, right? So I have to explain how is that possible. Sense of smell in adult female rat is more acute than that of pups. Irrelevant if that is the case, then it should not be. It's quite the opposite then, right? The amount of scent produced by rat pups increases when they are amount. It's the argument doesn't really matter on amount or not. It is removing it completely. So it was not that they're removing or making it less in degree or something, right? It's simply saying let's remove it altogether, and that obviously will not really work here, right? Female rats that have given birth are more affected by olfactory cues than are female rats that have never given birth. So even in that case, why would we remove the sense of smell? If they keep that, they should be able to do it faster. A female rat that has given birth shows maternal behavior toward rat pups that she did not bear more quickly. It's not about how fast you do it, please. It's not about quickly or later, right? It's not about how much time it takes. Irrelevant. We're talking about, uh, you know, if you remove the sense of smell completely, then what happens, right? The development of female rat's maternal interest that she did not bear is inhibited by the odor. Now that explains. So if the maternal instinct is inhibited by the odor, so if you remove the sense of smell, then it will not be inhibited and they'll be able to do it a little faster, right? Therefore, clearly, I mean, most definitely the right choice is E part. Are we clear here, everyone? Wonderful. Great. So if you understand the task of the question, if you really understand, what the question is asking, then you can definitely eliminate your way around and get to the right one very, very quickly. Of course, it needs a lot of practice. Of course, it requires you to understand what type of arguments are there, all those things, all that groundwork behind this to get to that level, right? But this is something that can be done. Boldface, a very interesting question. And as long as you understand certain key things, let me give you a golden rule when it comes to boldface. So when it comes to boldface questions, the most important thing that I can tell you is transitions. Because eventually it will come down to relationships only, trust me. On a boldface question, it will eventually come down to the relationship between the two boldfaces, right? How are they related? Eventually, most of us will be able to eliminate 2 to 3 choices. We're down to two, and then we have to make that call, right? Which one is, the one that we're looking for, or matches the evidence that is given to us, and that obviously can be done if we pay attention to transitions. Let me show you. Each time restrictions on the advertising of legal services have been eliminated, the number of lawyers advertising their service has increased and legal costs to consumers have declined. Each time this has happened, that has happened. X leads to Y. Each time this happens, Y happens. Guys, in that case, very clearly, it's a cause effect situation. So I could have very easily eliminated, sorry, not B, but I could have very well eliminated A, C, and not C. Sorry, my bad. A, D, and E part, because these are the only two choices that say cause and effect, right? However, So contrast word. So obviously these two bold faces will not be together. Eliminating the state requirement that legal advertisements must specify fees or specific services would almost certainly increase rather than reduce the costs. So clearly, how they're related is that there is contrast. First boldface, then the author says, however, the author goes against. So first is the pattern of cause effect that the argues will be repeated. Not at all. The author is saying, however, author is saying it will not be repeated. So how can it be B part? First is the pattern of cause effect that will not hold. Absolutely correct because of the word however. So I can, with a lot of confidence say that C part has got to be the best choice, right? Of course, there is a bit of terminology that if you learn behind this, that can really enhance your chances of getting a boldface question correct, right? But that comes later. More important thing here is to be able to figure out the transition here and how the boldfaces are related, and that, as you can see, reduces the kind of time you spend. A boldface question can really eat all your time, and you've got to be very careful with a typical boldface question, right? Because if you keep start to read everything, then it gets very difficult. Then things will get out of hand, right? So the best way is to obviously uh, read the boldface first, eliminate choices, understand the transitions, and then get to the choice. All right. Here, this one, each of the following in the passage are true, which must be true. So this is what we call as an inference question. That if above information is true, then which of the following is true? So if we read here, it says the fewer restrictions there are, the more lawyers there are who advertise their services. Less restrictions, more people advertise, and lawyers who advertise usually charge less. So basically, if there are fewer restrictions, more lawyers will advertise and they will charge less. Therefore, if the state removes any of its current restrictions, such as the one against advertisements that do not specify fee arrangements, overall consumer costs will be lower than if the state retains its current restrictions. So basically, they've concluded that the overall cost will go down if they remove any of the restrictions. Let's see. Some lawyers who now advertise will charge more. Now, the moment I read this, it's gone, right? Nowhere the only thing argument says is that the charge will go down, not high, right? So obviously that is a bit irrelevant, should not be drawn from. More consumers will use legal services if there are fewer restrictions. We have no mention of what consumers are going to be able to do. On an inference question, remember, no new information. You cannot go beyond what the passage says. You should not go beyond the evidence that is given to you. That is not how this works. If the restriction against advertisements that do not specify fee arrangement is removed, more lawyers will advertise their services. Absolutely correct, right? Clearly, as we discussed, fewer restrictions, more lawyers advertise. The very first line helps you select the right answer straight away, straight away, right? If lawyers advertise lower prices, some lawyers who do not advertise will charge less. We have absolutely no clue about people who do not advertise, what they're going to do, how they're going to respond. There is no mention to that. If the only restrictions on the advertising were those that apply to every type of advertising, again, not really something that I can say based on the information that is already provided to us in the argument. Okay. So I have to be a bit careful there. Now, let's have a quick look at the short passage that we have here, right? So I'll give you guys a minute, have a quick look. Please go through the passage first. You can just refresh your memory and read the passage, and then we'll look at the questions. Please go ahead. All right, guys. I believe we have read through the passage here. It clearly says, in study of whether offering a guarantee of free stay, is it helpful or not? I think the result is that it is mixed. Now, what does mixed mean? Mixed simply means that it is both positive and negative, guys. Right. So that is what the result or the story that has found here, right? And that's what we are looking for. Now, in the end, if you see, they talk about how these benefits, like they probably lies not so much in the appeal, but keeping the staff motivated, right? Staff members would know what is expected of them, and the success depends on their success depends on business's success. So the primary purpose. So primary purpose, obviously, if I pay attention to, this is more of the detailed part here. So if you look at the initial part, it clearly says that we're talking about this study that has been conducted, and what is the effect, what is the result? It is clearly mixed. So if you see, there was no other choice other than B part that could possibly be potential advantages and disadvantages. None of the choices examine conventional wisdom. There is no conventional wisdom. Question the results of the study. They're not questioning. They're just saying that it is mixed. Both positive and negatives are there. Evaluating rather than questioning. Argue that only certain hotel chains would benefit. Absolutely not. Clearly not the case here. Consider that impact of free stay guarantees can have services on the staff. That's not the main thing, guys. That's, eventually that may happen as well, right? That is an additionally sort of thing, but not the main point, right? It's asking the primary purpose, the main idea, and that is nothing but this thing only. B part, advantages and disadvantages. It can be inferred that the author of the passage would agree with which of the following statements about the appeal of free stay. So if you look at it, where do we have appeal of free stay? Clearly in this part, right? So all you have to do is identify the location. And once you have the location, then obviously things should get a lot easier for you to identify, right? So here it says know what to anticipate in terms of free stay. They're empowered to question the quality given in a free stay, right? So they're empowered to question when they know, what is expected. So in that case, I think clearly such guarantees are likely to have less appeal situations where customers are knowledgeable, because then they get empowered, then they feel they can question it. Obviously, in that case, it will not have as much value as it would otherwise. Is that clear here, everyone? Okay. Here then, according to the passage, the study of Travel Unravel found that the free stay guarantees when offered by economy hotel chains can have which of the following. So if you talk about economy hotel chains, I think that must be mentioned here. So if you look at these lines, the economy hotel chain, which caters to the middle class and where life membership isn't a very prestigious issue, they found that the guarantee could actually have a negative effect. Potential customers might think that the hotel chain is worried about its business. So it may have a negative impact also. What's the choice that matches it here? I think C part again is not confident about his business. So the idea here is that, you'll find that these passages by and large are very evidence based passages, implying that you'll always have enough evidence for you to select a particular choice which is directly supported. So never get creative, do not go beyond the passage, always select an answer choice based on the evidence that you have here. So we have another passage. I'll give you guys a minute here. Please go through the passage so that we can then discuss the questions as well. Please go ahead, everyone. Read through the passage here. All right, guys, I believe we have read through the passage here. So if you see, this passage talks about the puffer fish, how it can be dangerous, but only when required. So it's not really a predator. Do not be fooled. Looks can be deceiving. I think they go back to the same point in the end as well. Appearances certainly can be deceiving as well, right? So that's what, and then they, in between, they describe the ability and the certain details about the fish as well. So that is what the passage seems to be. So if you ask me the primary purpose, right, all I'll do is look at the first and the last paragraph. Clearly, the first and the last paragraph have the same underlying theme, which is that looks can be deceiving, right? How pufferfish can really be dangerous, even though it may not appear as such, right? So that is what we really, really can understand. And I think uh, if we look at the answer choices, should not be depicted as attackers, not really, undermine the belief that are not vulnerable to predators, not really, describe the pufferfish hunting style. That is a detail mentioned for sure, but that's not the main idea, guys. That's not something that the entire passage as a whole is trying to do. Counter the popular notion that they're harmless. Absolutely correct. So they're not really harmless. Do not be fooled, it says. Support the proposition that pufferfish's behavior needs further study. Nowhere it says that there is further study required. So as you can clearly see, it can make a huge difference to your ability if you really know where to read. For example, main purpose, I should know that first last paragraph really, really matter. And I should also not really be trapped by details such as C part, which is true. I'm not denying it, but it does not really mention the main idea of the passage, right? So that is something that you should definitely look out for. Now if you look at the next one, the author of the passage would most likely agree with which of the following statements here. Let's have a look. So the pufferfish is most poisonous. Now that is an extreme. On the planet, definitely not. Anywhere is the author saying that it's on the planet? No. It is possible for an animal to look dangerous than it truly is, to look less dangerous, sorry, than it truly is. I think that is definitely something that the author agrees, right? Looks can be deceiving. Animals that use inflatability become inedible. It's not that they become inedible, nothing can eat them. Pufferfish without this is edible or no ill effects. We don't know that there is nothing else that can be, harmful. That's not really mentioned. It is impossible to farm. Now, this is what we call as an extreme statement. So, absolutely not something that you would want to go for. Is that clear, everyone? Do we understand, guys? Right? So, I hope you realize, how important it is to really, really understand the passage. Now, here it says, according to the passage, which of the following are the characteristics except something which is not the characteristic is what you're trying to identify here, right? So please keep that in mind. Something which is not a characteristic. Tendency to prey upon the weak. Is it preying upon the
Okay. Hi, everyone. So starting with the session and Mayur's session got disconnected. There was some technical issue, and I believe that you have solved the question. The answer to the question, which I got to understand, was option A. So you can take that, and that was the answer to the question. Okay. Now, starting with the quant part, right? I hope you have gone through, and we'll be starting with the quant section first, followed by the DI section, that is data insight section. Now, starting with the first one, let's try understanding the things around the quant first, and then we'll go into the depth. Okay. So what will be there in the first one to understand is what is the things, or what are the things which you need to understand from the quant side. So the first thing, that how is the structure all about, and what all the topics which you need to uh, prepare for the GMAT quant section. So the first thing which you should be knowing is that arithmetic, right? Which includes ratio, proportion, percentages, profit loss, speed time distance, rate and work, speed time distance, simple interest, compound interest. A lot of questions revolve around arithmetic. Similarly, same goes for algebra also, right? Linear equation, quadratic equation, inequalities, modulus, coordinate geometry, a lot of things covered here as well out of your 21 questions on the GMAT focus edition. So you have a lot of questions from these three topics. That is arithmetic, algebra, numbers, approximately 6 to 70. We cannot be very, very sure about how many exact questions, but it will be approximately in that range of 60 to 70%. So a lot of things here. So just focus more. It is not that you don't have to focus on probability, mean, median, mode, standard deviation. You have to, but your focus should be more towards these sections or these topics more as compared to the other. So it is always a relative understanding with respect to the complete structure of the GMAT focus edition. Now let's understand the part here, which is starting with the first question. Let's understand. I'll give you a minute, right? Quick 1 minute, and then we'll solve the question here. This one. Okay, starting with the question now. Let's understand this one. Now, what's an important point is the language, right? So see to it that you understand the language of the question very nicely. Take 10 seconds, 5 seconds more to understand the language, right? And initial questions of yours will be somewhat easy and medium. So do not have those questions incorrect. So understand the language. That should be your first way to approach the exam, right? When you are studying, practicing at home, understand the language, take 5 seconds more. It will help you increase your accuracy. Now, first thing, it says that Nilesh has 40 pens, 30% of which are blue. That means from this one, 40 pens are there, and how many blues are there? There are 30% are blue. That means 30% of 40, that is 12 are blue. That means non-blue, B dash, must be 70%, right? Remaining. If that is 30%, so 70%, that is 28 pieces or 28 pens are there. He purchased 80 more. Okay, fair enough. 80 more, 40% of which are not blue. If 40% are not blue, blue must be 60%. Blue must be 60%. What is 60% of 80? That is 48 blues are there. 48 blues. What percent of total number? Now, how many total number are there? So can we say the total initially it was 40, 80 more added. That means the total number of pens are now 120. And how many blues are there? Initially, there were 12. Now, in the next lot, it was 48 more. That means the total number of blues must be 12 plus 48, which is 60. What percent of total? That means out of total 120, which are currently, how many blues are there? There are 60 blues. That is half, or 0.5, which is 50%. Okay. Try the next one. Okay, starting with the question now. Now, what will be the way or a strategy for these type of which are starting questions will be try approximation, right? Approximate a lot. On a GMAT, you'll use approximation and also on the DI section, right? Which is data insight. There also you'll use approximation a lot. So try approximating. Here the question itself says that 50% plus one third plus 0.65 is approximately, right? So start approximating. The more you approximate, the more it helps you reach the correct answer quickly. So 50%, that is 0.5. This is correct. 1 by 3 is 0.3333 plus 0.65. That gives an answer of 1.48, which is approximately 1.5. Right? This was quite straight, but a lot of questions will require you to approximate on the questions wherein you have a word problem. So understand that word problem and then approximate. That will be helpful. This was quite straight question with respect to the initial questions which will be there. Okay, try this one, the next one. Quick 1 minute. Let's have 1 minute. That's it. Okay, starting with the question now. Okay. Now, what will be the point here? The bigger point is that you cannot leave the fundamental, right? A lot of questions on the GMAT will be directly from the foundations or the fundamentals which are there. Let's understand the question. So build your foundation very nicely. The first thing here in this question, let's understand. It says that in how many ways? Two identical black balls. Okay, fair enough. So there are two black balls, which are both identical. One red ball, okay, and one green ball. In how many ways it can be arranged in a straight line, right? Whenever it says in how many ways, see to it that this question is from the permutation combination. Okay, so you can refer that whatever you have studied under permutation combination, that will be used, or that concept is being asked onto the question. So refer back to your notes, refer back to your concepts you have studied. Now here, just remember, we'll be studying a lot in the main classes, but four things, remember, if four things are there, right? There are four things. The concept is if four things are there, they can be rearranged in how many ways? 4 factorial. Okay. What is factorial? Just to understand, 4 factorial is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is 4 factorial. Okay. So if four things are there, in how many ways? We'll be understanding why is it so, why is it 4 factorial only, right? What is a slot approach? But for this session, just understand that 4 objects are there. They can be arranged in how many ways? 4 factorial ways. That's the concept. Okay. And if there is repetition, B is coming how many times? B is coming 2 times. If something is coming more number of times, divide by that factorial. That's it. That's your answer. Okay. So 4 factorial is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. What is 2 factorial? That is 2 into 1. 2 gets cancelled out. That is 12. Directly based on the fundamentals. Okay. Okay. Let's try the next one. Try this one. Quick 1 minute. Hope you all have at least gone through or attempted. Okay, starting with the question now, a fairly straightforward question. Now, your strategy should be simplify. Okay, simplify to the simplest form. Let's understand. Now, what is the question given? A upon B directly given as 3 upon 4. Now, if the ratio is there, remember, so ratio, that means for every 3 A's, there are 4 B's. Okay, the let's simplify. So can we say that if A by B is 3 by 4, that means A is equal to 3K, B is equal to 4K. If that is the case, what is also given is this ratio, that is A upon A plus 7 divided by B plus 7 is equal to 4 by 7, 4 by 5. Now what is A? That is 3K. So substitute here 3K plus 7. B value, that is 4K plus 7 is equal to 4 by 5. Let's simplify. Cross multiplying, that is 15K plus 35 is equal to 16K plus 28. That means K is equal to 35 minus 28, which is 7. If K is 7, how much is A then? That is 3 into 7, which is 21. How much is B? 4 into 7, that is 28. So after simplification, you have got the values of A and B. What is A plus 14 divided by B plus 14? already calculated value of A. What is A? That is 21. B is 28. Five over 6, option C is the correct one. The moment question comes, try simplifying. It helps you a lot. Okay, let's try the next one. Try this question. Okay, let's try this one. Let's see. Now, what is the question all about? Right. Now, for the session, average everyone knows, right? Average is sum of the readings divided by number of the readings, right? That is the average. Right? Average is sum of the readings divided by number. So what are the readings here? That is three numbers, which is 3 raised to power x minus 1, 3 raised to power x minus 1 into 5, and last is 3 raised to power x into 5 raised to power 2. These are the three numbers. So what will be the sum? That will be 3 raised to power x minus 1 plus 3 raised to power x minus 1 into 5 plus 3 raised to power x into 5 raised to power 2. That's the sum of all the three readings divided by number of readings. That is how much? N is 3 here, and that average is equal to 729. That's the question all about. Now, simplifying further. Again, simplify. A lot of questions will require you on problem solving to simplify. Now, from these three terms, 3 raised to power x can be taken common. 3 raised to power x minus 1, let's take common out of these three terms. So what is from the first bracket remaining? That is 1. From the second bracket, that is 5. From the next bracket, that is 5 square, 3 into 5 square divided by 3 is equal to 729. And 729 can be written as 3 raised to power 6. 729 is 3 raised to power 6. Simplifying further, 3 raised to power x minus 1 divided by 3. So can this be written as 3 raised to power x minus 2, right? Division. 3 is in division. So it will be 3 raised to power x minus 2 times 1 plus 5, 6, and this is 75. That is 81 is equal to 3 raised to power 6. What is simplifying further? 3 raised to power x minus 1 into 81 is 3 raised to power 4 is equal to 3 raised to power 6. Simplifying, bases are same just for the session. If the bases are Okay, guys got disconnected. I'll share the screen. Okay, so we are discussing this point, right? So that's the point here we were when got disconnected. So the point here which we were discussing was X is calculated, right? So what we have done, a lot of things which we have done is simplifying, right? So your strategy to solve a lot of questions is to simplify. The more you can simplify, the more it will be quite good, right? You have just followed the concept simplifying. If X is known as 4, so 3 raised to power 4 minus 1, that is 3. 3 raised to power 4 minus 1, that is 3 into 5. And 3 raised to power 4 into 5 raised to power 2. So these are the three numbers which the question says. What is the median? Now median is the middle value. Which is the median here? That's the middle value. Right? If that's the middle value, what is 3 raised to power 3 raised to power 3? That is 27 times 5. That is 135. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, this one. Quick minute here, not more than that. Okay, let's try. Let's try this one. So here, the question again is to simplify. So 5 raised to power x plus 5 raised to power x plus 5 raised to power x. Let's say if we have a plus a plus a, let's say a plus a plus a, what is that equal to? It will be 3 times a. Similarly, this term can be written as 3 times 5 raised to power x, where a is 5 raised to power x. That's the simplified form. Similarly, think about it as b plus b plus b plus b plus b. How many b's are there? There are 5 b's. So can this be written as 5 times b, which is 3 raised to power x? That's the simplified form. Now, if the bases are same, the powers gets added. So what are the bases here? 3 and this 3. So this can be written as 3 raised to power x plus 1. 5, this 5. So bases are same. In case of multiplication, powers gets added. Now, bases are different, powers are same. If the bases are different, powers are same. So this can be written as 3 into 5 whole raised to power x plus 1. Power is same. That's the simplified form, which is 15 raised to power x plus 1. Option D. Try the next one. What about this question? Okay, let's try. Okay, let's. What could be the value? Now you'll have to be quite careful, right? Whenever it says could be, that means there are some values which are more than 1, right? So you don't have to stick on one particular value. You'll have to find out, is there any possibilities? And the question is for modulus. So straight question, whenever modulus is there for the session, it could be a positive. So if you have 5 modulus, that is also 5. And minus 5 modulus, that is also 5. So inside this, it could be positive. Inside the modulus, it could be negative. So if x minus 3 modulus is equal to 7 by 3, that means inside this modulus, this value can be positive. That means x minus 3 is 7 by 3. Or it could be negative. That means x minus 3 is minus 7 by 3. One time taken as positive, the other time taken as negative. So that means x is equal to 3 plus 7 by 3. Taking the LCM, that is 3. 9 plus 7, which is 16. X is equal to minus 7 by 3 plus 3. 3 again being the LCM. 9 minus 7, that is 2 by 3. So these are the two possible values for x. That is 16 by 3, 2 by 3, 2 by 3 there in the option. So which is option C being the correct one here. Again, fairly easy, right? If you have the concepts, you'll get through, right? But a lot of questions based on this can be framed for a harder and a medium difficulty level. Let's try this one. Question number 8. Okay, let's try this one. So here, what is the question all about? That is, what is the value of q minus r? Okay, so q minus r required in the question. What is given if p minus r is equal to q? Now, if p minus r is q and q minus r is required, so what can be done from both the sides? What if we subtract minus r, right? You require the value of q minus r, right? So to make this term on the right hand side minus r, you will subtract minus r from both the sides. That means p minus 2r is equal to q minus r. That's it. Q minus r value, that is p minus 2r. Option C being the correct one. Try this one, the next one. Question number 9. What about this question? Okay, let's try this one. Let's try. Now, what is the question all about? It says that if this number, which is a bigger, huge number, is divisible by 16. Now, for the session, 16 is 2 raised to power 4, right? In the main sessions, we'll discuss a lot, right? How to find out the divisibility. For 16, which is 2 raised to power 4, last 4 digits should be divisible. If it says that this number is divisible by 16, it only means, remember this, last 4 digit. For 16 to be divisible, last 4 digits should be divisible. What are the last 4 digits of this number? That is 428K. So 428K, these 4 should be divisible by 16. If these 4 are divisible, the complete number is divisible. Otherwise, number will not be divisible by 16. Okay, for 16, last 4 digits. Let's try seeing and dividing the number by 16. So 16 2s are 32, 108. 16 6 are 96. Now 1 2 K. Now what should be this K? That's the question. Now 16 8s are 128. That means for a remainder to be 0, K value should be 8. Right? For it to be completely divisible, the digit K should be. The question says if where P, K and P are single digits, whole number, find the maximum value of P into K. Now, what about P? P can be any digit in between 0 to 9. P can be any digit in between 0 to 9. To 9, you have to maximize the product P into K, P times K. The value of P has to be maximum. What is the maximum value for P? That can be 9. What is K value? Already calculated. That is 8, which is 72. Option C is the correct one here. Okay. So your concepts again are tested a lot. Try this one. What about this question? Question number 10. Okay, let's try this one. Now use values. Okay, that's your strategy. A lot of questions you can use values to solve. Okay, don't need to find out a lot of calculation stuff. Use values to solve the question. Maximum possible value of the absolute difference between two 3-digit number. Okay, so you'll have to have 3-digit numbers, two numbers which are 3-digit. Okay, prime numbers x and y. So there is one number x, there is one number y. You have to find out the difference between them, x minus y. And that should be having the same hundredths digit, right? And the maximum possible difference is required. Now let's say you cannot remember all the prime numbers, right? 3-digit number, let's say that is 101. Check for whether 101 is a prime or not, right? Whether 101 is prime or not, for to check whether 101 is prime or not, just take the square root. Okay, what is the square root of approximately 10 point something? So up to 10, what all prime numbers are there in between 1 to 10? Just check the divisibility of 101, whether it is divisible by 2, 3, 5, 7. These are the prime numbers in between 1 to 10. So is this 101 divisible by 2? No. Is 101 divisible by 3? Again, we discuss all the divisibilities in the class, right? Is it divisible by 3? No. What about 5? Is 101 divisible? No. What about 7? No, it is not. That means 101 is a prime number. So that's 1. What about maximum? To maximize, let's take 199, right? In order for the 100 digit to be same. So 199 is the last prime number with a 100 digit of 1. So what about 199? Take a square root of 199. That is approximately 14.1, right? 14 square is 196. So just check the prime numbers till 14. What are the prime numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. You just have to check whether 199 is divisible by 2. No. Whether by 3. No. Similarly by 5, 7. No. 11. No. 13. No. That means if it's not divisible by these prime numbers, it's a prime number. 199 is also a prime. What's the difference between them? 199 minus 101, that is 98. Okay. So try using values to find out the answer or to reach closer to the answer as compared to doing algebra or any other stuff. Let's try the next set of the questions which are from DI, that is data insight section. Okay. Now the structure and how DI is there, so you don't need to remember a lot of stuff for DI, right? DI is a dependent section, right? It is dependent on two things. One is your quant section and the other is verbal. Okay. So DI is more about your quant and verbal. So what all you have studied in quant, that is mean, median, mode, standard deviation, uh, averages, right? Everything will be discussed or assessed here. Similarly, how to strengthen an argument, how to weaken an argument, right? Which we are discussing, how to critically examine passage. So you'll have to read a lot. That's the DI section all about. Okay, let's now understand few questions with the solution. Okay, let's try this one, the first one. That's a data sufficiency question type, giving you a minute. Okay, let's understand this together. Now, what's the question all about? It says, what is the median, right? And that's a data sufficiency. I'll quickly tell you what is the data sufficiency question type. Here you get a question, okay? That's known as a question stem. That's the question stem. These are the two statements, statement 1 and 2, and these are the 5 options. And the options are static, okay? Static means it'll exactly same wordings will be there on the exam. Okay, so you can learn these so that you save a lot of time. Now, starting with the question, let's understand. It says that what is the median? Now, median is the middle value. So if you have 3 readings, middle value is the median. If you have 4 readings, average of the 2 middle values is the median. So median is the middle value when you arrange the readings in order. Order means ascending order or descending order. Of four positive integers whose average is AB is 100. Let's say four positive integers are A, B, C, D. Right? That's the question all about. Four integers, let's take them A, B, C, D. We don't know which is greater from when. Okay, A could be the smallest, or A could be the greatest, or A could be anywhere. We don't know. Taken four integers randomly. They could be equal as well. Four positive integers, their average is, so that means A plus B plus C plus D divided by 4 is equal to 100. That's the question. That means A plus B plus C plus D, that is 400. This is given to you, right? That's the given part. Always see to it whenever data sufficiency question comes, find out what is given and what is to be found. Now, median is required. To find is median. To find is the median part. Median of these four numbers. First statement, it says that the average of first, third, and fourth. Now we don't know which is the first, which is the third, but let's take, if that these are the three numbers, let's say A, B, A, C, D. So A plus C plus D, that is 120 divided by 3. Their average sum of the readings. That means A plus C plus D is equal to 360. If A plus C plus D is equal to 360 and A plus B plus C plus D is 400, that means B is equal to 40, right? B should be 40. Now, if B is given, can you find out the median? Only one value is known. Can the median be found out of the four integers? No. That means first statement alone is not sufficient. What about second? Second says the average of first, second, and fourth. Which is first? Which we have considered. Second, fourth, that is D. So that means A plus B plus D divided by 3 is equal to 90. That means A plus B plus D, which is 270. If A plus B plus D is 270 and the total is 400 of the four integers, that means C will be how much? It will be 130. Now from second statement, again, C is known. This term is known. Second statement alone is not sufficient. Let's club them. If you club them, B is known, C is known, that is 40 and 130. B is known, C is known, but you do not know, right? If you club them, you still do not know the values of A and D. Whether A is the smallest, or whether A is the largest, or whether A comes in between B and C, we don't know. So nothing can be calculated between the information which is given to you. That means even after clubbing, we are not getting an answer. Option E is the correct. That means that statement alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Okay, unless and until we have the absolute values, it could be multiple values of A and D also. We only have the values of B and C out of four integers. So it could be any other integers. Therefore, option E is the correct one. You cannot find out the definite median for the question here. Try this one. What about this question? Okay, let's try the question again. This one. Let's see. Now, what is the question? It says that as median. Median again is the middle value, right? If three readings, that's the middle value. Is the median greater than the average? So that's the question. If the median greater than the average. First statement, it gives that set A consists of consecutive multiples of 5. Now, if there are consecutive multiples, let's take case 1. Right? Let's say case 1. Let's say there are 3 multiples of 5. Right? Let's say 5, 10, 15. These are consecutive multiples. Now, in your main sessions, when you'll understand, there is a concept which is called as arithmetic progression. Okay. In an AP, always remember that median is always equal to average. Okay, that's it. That's the concept which is asked in the question. That's what the importance is. And this is an AP. In an AP, if it's an AP, average is always equal to median. You don't have to calculate. First statement alone is sufficient. That's it. What about second one? Second says sum of all terms. Now, how many terms are there in the set? How many terms? Their sum is 175. We don't know what are these terms all about. Can we find out the median with this information? Never. Second statement alone is not sufficient. A is the guy. So save your time, have the fundamentals very nicely done. We cover everything during the classes. So watch your recordings very carefully. Try the next one. This question. Okay, starting with the question, let's try this together. Now, what's the question? It says that a company performance ABCD. Now, this information is always very, very redundant. Why? Because if you understand the table, and that's a table analysis type of a question. Table analysis, where you'll be given a table, okay, and you'll have an option of arranging this table in an ascending, descending order. Okay, so you can arrange this table. This is an image we'll not be able to do, but on the main exam, you will be able to arrange this table in ascending or a descending order. Okay, so here we'll not be able to do. Now, you can go through this, but it is generally the description of the table which is there. Okay, it's generally the description which is there in the table. Okay, so that's product, what all products are there. Obviously, there'll be the products which are A to E, which is written here. So you don't need to invest a lot of time here. Understand the table instead of reading the whole thing, 3 to 4 lines. Don't read. Okay, that makes your life easier. So here regions, some regions are given, and there is some sales revenue in millions. This is important. So the revenue is there. Profit margins on that revenue for product A with respect to North, there is margin, and that's the unit number of the units sold. So you can calculate a lot of things based on the information which is given. So if the sale is given, number of units, you can find out what is the per unit cost and so on and so forth. A lot of things. Based on the table given, answer the following question. For which product and region combination did the company achieve the highest total profit? Now, what is a profit? Profit is nothing else but profit margin is there. So profit margin from the total sales. So profit margin, profit percentage profit times sales. That's the profit. Total sale is this much and profit is 22%, right? For this category. You have to find out which is the highest profit. Now, highest profit depends on the profit percent and the sales. So arrange the table with respect to the highest to lowest of profit. So when you arrange this or this particular, right, anyone, if you can just see, there's a reading which is 62.8, which is the highest one, right? That's the highest one. Similarly, out of these readings, right, 30 is highest, 35 is also there, but 35% is less. So that means we can say that this particular region or this particular reading is going to be the highest, giving the highest percentage or the highest value of the profit with respect to percentage highest, the sales revenue highest. So without much of the calculation or one or two calculations, you have a calculator there. You can calculate, but you can definitely say that B, West is going to be the highest profit, not doing a lot of calculation. Save your time, understand the table very carefully. It gives you an answer by visually seeing. Okay, but you'll have to practice. Obviously, you have to have a lot of concept practice, but that's how you solve such questions. Okay, try this one now. Let's try this question. Okay, let's try this together. So here what is given? Again, a data sufficiency, it says that x is equal to a raised to power p plus q divided by a raised to power q. That is given. Now, if the bases are same, right? So this can be written as a raised to power p times a raised to power q divided by a raised to power q, right? That's the simplified form. If the bases are same, in case of multiplication, the powers gets added. Now a raised to power q gets cancelled. So the value is, if x is equal to this, find the value of a raised to power p. That's the question. To find out x, you require a raised to power p. Now, first statement gives a value, okay, a is required, but gives the value of q. You do not require the value of q, right? So first statement alone is not sufficient. You require the value of a raised to power p. A is given, but p is not given. First statement not sufficient. What about second? Now, second statement gives the value of p as 0. So if p is 0, anything raised to power 0, that is 1. So you get an answer to the question from second statement. Option B is the correct one here. Okay. So again, see to it, your foundations, your fundamentals, very nicely done. That helps you get through. Okay, try this one. What about this question? Okay, let's try this one. So here, what is the question? What is the value of x minus y? First statement, you have to find out x minus y value. The first statement says 3 raised to power x is equal to 27 is 3 raised to power 3. That means x is equal to 3. What about y? That is not given. First statement, not sufficient. What about second? 3 raised to power x is equal to 81 can be written as 3 raised to power 4 multiplied by 3 raised to power y. Simplifying further, so 3 raised to power x divided by 3 raised to power y is equal to 3 raised to power 4. Now 3 raised to power x upon 3 raised to power y can be written as 3 raised to power x minus y is equal to 3 raised to power 4. That means x minus y, that is 4. So what's the value? Second statement gives. Statement 2 sufficient. B is the correct one here. What about this question? What will be the answer here? Okay, let's try this one. Let's see. So what is the question? It says that 27 raised to power x divided by 9 raised to power y. What is the value? That's the question. So 27 can be written as 3 raised to power 3 raised to power x. 9 can be written as 3 square raised to power y. That means 3 raised to power 3x divided by 3 raised to power 2y. Now the bases are same in case of division. So 3 raised to power x minus 2y. That's the question. What is the value of 3 raised to power 3x minus 2y? Let's start with first statement. First statement gives y is equal to 1.5x. Now if y is equal to 1.5, 1.5 is 3 by 2. Cross multiplying, so 2y is equal to 3x. That means 3x minus 2y is equal to 0. So if 3x minus 2y, this power is 0, that means 3 raised to power 0 is 1. So you are getting an answer to the question. What is the value of 3 raised to power 3x minus 2? First statement sufficient. What about second statement? It only gives the value of x. No value of y is given. Second statement not sufficient. A is the correct. Try this question. This question here. What will be the answer here? Okay, let's try this one. Now it says that is x positive, and there are two statements. Statement 1 gives x plus 3 modulo x minus 3 mod x plus 3 modulus is less than 4. Right? That's the statement 1. Now we already understood, right, that x could be this inside, it could be positive or it could be negative. Let's solve. So if it's positive, x plus 3 less than 4, and if it's negative, so minus of x plus 3 less than 4. Let's simplify. So simplifying further, so x is less than 1. Open the bracket. So this is minus x minus 3 less than 4. That means this can be written as minus x is less than 1. That means x is greater than minus 1. So from statement 1, x lies between, if you understand on the number line and visualize on the number line, x is less than 1, and greater than minus 1. That means all the values in between, this is 7 here, 7 here. So this is minus 7, minus 7. So it lies between minus 7 to 1, these all values. Now answer the question, is x positive? It could be. It could be positive, it could be negative, right? It could be 0.1, it could be minus 0.1. So first statement alone is not sufficient. What about second? Second gives x minus 3 modulus is less than 4. Again, one time positive. If it's positive, one time negative. That's the concept. So x minus 3 less than 4, minus of x minus 3 is less than 4. That means x is less than 7. And minus x minus 3 is less than 4. That means minus x is less than 7, and x is greater than minus 7. That means x is less than 7 on the number line. Less than 7 and greater than minus 7. So in between minus 7 to plus 7, again, is x positive? It could be, it could not be. This becomes out to be plus. This plus goes there, so it will be positive 1 and it will be negative 1 here. So x is greater than minus 1 and less than 7. Again, x lies between minus 1 to positive 7. Again, is x positive? X could be positive, x could be negative. Second statement alone not sufficient. Let's club them. If we club them, x is less than from minus 7 to plus 7, and from second statement minus 1 to plus 7. So what will be the clubbed region? Can we say that the clubbed region, if you first and second, you'll get that x lies between minus 1 to plus 1. Again, is x positive? It could be, it could not be. That means even after clubbing, we are not getting an answer. Option E is the correct one here. The bigger point here is to visualize. Okay, the more you can visualize on the number line, the more you are closer to the correct answer. Okay, it could be any value, it could be decimals also. It says x is positive. Is x positive? It could be, it could not be, right? So see to it that you use a lot of number line to solve the questions here. Okay. Now let's quickly understand a lot of things and how to proceed, right? Your next steps. What should be your next step for your preparation? First is to proceed with the conceptual classes. A lot of things are concepts, right? Your first few questions determine a lot. So have all the concept classes nicely done. Solve the in-class, post-class, everything should be completed. Proceed with the topic test. There'll be the post-class content also, topic test, sectional test on my zone. Complete that. Full length test after that, after completing all the topics which are there, complete the full length. Okay, full length is, again, you'll have to sit for 2.5 hours. Build test taking strategies. Now, this is an important step, very, very important. After analyzing each mock, see to it that where is your weaker area and work on those weaker areas. Okay, instead of doing all the concepts again, see to it that which is a weaker area and see to it, and in that weaker area, why is that type of a question getting wrong? Is it a conceptual error? Is it a silly error? Is it a calculation error? Or is it the understanding of the question which is not there? So see to it, you understand a lot. Now, parallelly with what you should be doing is take a profile analysis session, right? A lot of things happens is that you complete your GMAT, give the exam, and then start. It should not be start parallelly. Profile analyze, start with your profile analysis session, get a session with for your specific area which you are targeting, what all target universities which you have in mind with your admission mentor. Get the application process. It takes a lot of time. So see to it, your SOs, essays, SOPs, resumes, they are quite well in place as per the uh, as per the this thing course which you are applying to or where exactly you are applying to. See to it that it matches that requirement. Submit the application with the GMAT score which you have done here, and then prepare for the interview. That's how you should prepare, with a very, very logical way in mind. Now, how can we help? Quick understanding will be able to help you with the live classes, comprehensive classes, private tutoring, self-paced, a lot of things. Wherever you see to it, your own way of approaching, you can take that particular uh, course, right? You have the live classes here. We discuss all the concepts, adaptive tests which are there. Practice, a lot of practice questions there. If you solve them, a lot of course gets completed. You get the hard books. One-to-one mock analysis session. You'll be added to a TG Telegram group. You'll be getting the doubt session solving, which is there in the comprehensive program. For premium admission, you'll be getting the analysis, your gap, which is there, whatever the gap, how to analyze, how to profile enrichment advisory, universities and program shortlist. This is quite important. Essays, SOPs is the important step. Why? Because that actually makes or breaks the things. Guidance letter, you should have then review and submission again with respect to the university which you are trying to apply for. If you have any other questions related to the coaching or related to the admissions, you can connect with Mr. Deepak. He'll be able to help you with all your queries. Now, quick understanding how we got there. So our success stories, a lot of students, they have given, conquered, right? Similarly, for the students who have studied abroad, a lot of them, they are going. That's again a good thing to celebrate for. I'll with this completed this session. So if you have any questions, you can discuss. I'll open the session. If you have any other related to your admissions or GMAT, you can even connect with Mr. Deepak. I'll open the session. If you have any questions, Q&A session. Okay, if no questions, we'll stop the session here. Bye all of you. Take care and good night.